Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Delaney, and for today's video we're going to be going over small palettes, perfect for travel, perfect for every day. If you're looking for not a lot of shades, but just enough to create multiple looks with and get a beautiful look every single time, these are the palettes for you. Different formulas, different amounts of shades. What are the pros and cons of each? We're going to be getting into it. These are all my favorites. I'm not including ones that I don't like. If you want to see those, I'm going to be doing an eyeshadow declutter very, very shortly. So definitely keep a lookout for that. But if you're interested in seeing my favorite small or mini eyeshadow palettes in my collection and ones that I would recommend, then keep on watching. Alright, I wanted to begin with kind of an honorable mention because this one is not within the 3 to 9 shade range. It has 12 shades, but the reason I want to include this is if you are looking for a palette that is good for travel and good for every day and just a staple, small, compact palette that is just perfect for pretty much everything and you're going to get a lot of use out of. This is one of the most used eyeshadow palettes in my collection, and yes, it is 12 shades, but if you can see from the scale of like my hands against it, it's really not a huge eyeshadow palette and it fits perfectly in a makeup bag, and that's what I love about it. This is from Viseart. This is the Neutral Matte eyeshadow palette, I believe in warm neutrals. I will pop up the proper name on the screen. It's kind of hard to read on the back, but as you can tell from the top row, I use this constantly, and having a staple matte eyeshadow palette is absolutely perfect for just doing makeup for yourself or for others as well. It goes from very, very light to very, very deep, so you can kind of mix and match and pretty much cover every single skin tone you have. So something like this is not only important for makeup artists, but if you want to use this for yourself, I use mostly the top row, but I also use the other shades to deepen up and make different looks. Also for eyebrow powders, and it works perfectly. So it's very versatile, something that's perfect for a makeup bag and pretty compact. So I did just want to shout out this palette as an honorable mention, but now let's get into the official mini palettes. Starting off with a little bit of a higher price range, we're going to get down to the more budget-friendly options towards the end of the video, but I'm thinking I'm going to start from more luxury and go on to drugstore. So first up, we have, of course, I don't think I can get through an eyeshadow video without talking about Miss Natasha Denona. So there are a few different options when it comes to mini palettes. These are, here, so I have 2 5 pans here, but one of the larger 5 pans, and then they have some little baby palettes that are 3 shades. Now, the 3 pan one, I actually don't get as much use out of as the other 5 pans. I just think that it's nice, but it's definitely like a one look wonder, and 3 shades is not enough for me to get versatility out of a palette. If you're one look wonder kind of a person, then this is perfect for you, because you have a deeper matte, a lighter matte, well, kind of a mid-tone, and then your shimmer shade. So you can put this as a transition shade in the crease, deepen it up with this shade here, and then pop on your lid this shimmer right here, and you have a perfect, easy, foolproof look. And it's really compact, really teeny tiny, as you can tell. And the formula for Natasha Denona is my favorite eyeshadow formula, so it's pretty unmatched. This is stunning. Just for me, it's one of my less used ones only because of its size, but I also really like having options. But if you don't, this is perfect for you. But this is more of my sweet spot here, these mini 5 pans. So this is the mini gold right here, and this is the mini star palette. Now, I have a bunch of these mini 5 pans, and I actually have a few others, the larger ones as well. I have a lot of Natasha Denona palettes. I actually do have a video showing my Natasha Denona collection, ranking all my palettes. I haven't really added a ton more recently just because I've been trying not to buy as many eyeshadow palettes, but these are just a couple options to show you, and this one is pretty much my favorite one, so of course I wanted to include that. This is, of course, the mini gold. This gold shade here is everything to me, and paired with this matte over here and then deepening it up with this one, it looks stunning. And then if I want to go more green, gold, then I'll stick to this side. But I have options, and that's what is important. I can use this one as a liner. It's one of the cream to powder shades. I can just do this and then the shimmer. I could just do this and the shimmer over here. I can use all of them together. I have a ton of options in one of my favorite eyeshadow formulas. So this is a frequent flyer in my makeup bag. But yeah, so if you want a more neutral option and not as much of a gold, the mini star is great just because it has a few different pops in it. So this like duochrome brown to blue, that's a great pop of color. You have your light shimmer shade that's kind of a rose gold that's great for every day. You have a goldy bronze kind of shimmer on the outside that's a little bit more deep. So if you want to do a nighttime look, you can go day to night in this palette or add a pop of color. But see how the 5 shades offers you a ton more options in a palette than the 3 one. I just like that much better. And of course, these formulas are amazing, just like the other one. And then we have the larger 5-pan palette, and I believe this is the Cupid eyeshadow palette from Natasha Denona. I don't know if this was BoxyCharm exclusive, but this size of a palette is still available. I have the Coral palette and another one that I can't remember the name of at the moment, but I actually really like how much product you get in here. But at the same time, for the price difference, I think I would still stick to the mini version. I think like that will still last you a long time. I don't know if you need this much product in a pan, to be honest, because if you use these colors every single day and it's your only palette, maybe you will get through it. But I will never hit pan on this because there's so much product in here. So depending on what you're looking for, if that's the kind of thing you want, more product, and you use the same ones every single day, then this one may be for you. But of course, you get your lighter transition shade, you get your matte deeper shade, you get a darker shimmer, lighter shimmer, and then another matte deeper option if you want to switch it up. Lots of versatility in here. Again, just a little bit bigger of a size, and honestly, like, this is why I wanted to show you this other palette, because it's still pretty large even though it's 5 shades versus the 12 shades. So it just depends on what makeup bag you have, what your personal style is, if you need that much product, etc. So that was Natasha Denona. I do not need to keep talking about those. That's my favorite formula. I could talk about them literally for hours, and I have before if you go check out the videos. But highly recommend. Those are like the first thing that comes to my mind when I think mini palettes is Natasha Denona, because I have so many of them and I reach for them constantly and I take them traveling constantly. All right, next up we have a little Pat McGrath's mini eyeshadow palette. This is the quintessential mini palette. I mean, in the palm of my hand, it is teeny, teeny, tiny. This is the mini eyeshadow palette in Sublime Smoke. It's kind of hard to read with the reflection on here, but these shades are perfect for a neutral makeup wearer. I mean, everyday palette, this is it. If you want something to travel with that has really good options, this is perfect. Of course, the Pat McGrath formula is great. I will say that when I reach for Pat McGrath, I'm usually reaching for those special shades. And in here, they are really great quality formulas, but are they super, super special? And that I don't know if I can say yes to, but I really do enjoy all of these shades. But if I were to choose between this palette and let's say a Natasha Denona, I'd probably choose Natasha Denona over this one. But if Pat McGrath would come out with this size palette with some of those extra special, like transformative shimmer shades along with the great matte formula that's already in here, I think I would reach for it even more. This is a great like staple neutral palette to keep in my makeup bag that really does translate from day to night super beautifully. And the formula lasts all day, just like Natasha Denona. It's great. I just wish that it had some of those transformative shades in it. Like sometimes the Natasha Denona ones have those duochrome shifty shades in them. Pat McGrath, at least that I have seen in the mini palettes, has not done that yet. But hopeful for the future. I really like this format. Really hope they keep up with this mini palette formula. I know that they have a purple one. I will have to see it in store before I go ahead and buy it, just to see if the shimmers are something that I will wear every day, because purple's not my everyday go-to. This neutral one was, and that's why I gave it a shot. But I really love how compact it is. The formula obviously is great. It's an everyday great palette. Super travel friendly. Highly recommend. And I think the price point is like 25 bucks, which is the same as Natasha Denona, and you get 6 shades instead of 5. So definitely look into it. I will be hopeful for the future that the color stories will be changed up a little bit. All right, next up we have Anastasia Beverly Hills, and this is a mini palette from them. I don't see a lot of mini palettes coming from this brand, and when they did this, I jumped on it real quick. So this one is the mini palette that wasn't like the Soft Glam 2, where it was just pre-existing shades put into a palette. This is the Glam To Go eyeshadow palette, and I reach into this constantly. I love the ABH formula. It's not a brand that gets as much hype nowadays as it used to, but I still am in love with their eyeshadow formula, especially the shimmers. But the mattes, they're so super blendable, and I feel like they don't get enough hype now because there's so many formulas on the market. But the mattes are so, like, the difference in formula between this and, let's say, Natasha Denona. Natasha Denona has like punchy pigmented shadows, and they blend well together, but they're more like, they pack a punch immediately. These are more powdery. Like some of the Natasha ones are more like gel to powder or like cream to powder. These are all powder mattes, and they blend so easily. But sometimes if you're a beginner in makeup, this is easier. The powdery formulas are definitely easier because you can wipe away if you've actually put too much by accident. So every formula kind of has its reason, right? But these are so beginner friendly. They are beautiful. This color story is perfectly neutral. You have more pinky leaning neutrals. You have more like warm leaning neutrals. You can do a lot of different looks with this palette. I will say it's not like super, super deep, but these 2 shades you can build up to get a pretty good depth. And these shimmer shades are beautiful. I will say these 2 pack the most punch. This one's more of like a satin shade. I don't reach for the satin shade as much, but these 2 shimmers are gorgeous and sparkly, and the formula that I love. The mattes all work beautifully, just like my other ABH palettes I have in my collection. And I would highly recommend this one if you see it. I don't know if it's still available. I hope it is. And I hope Anastasia Beverly Hills comes out with more in this like small packaging, because I love the bigger palettes, and I just got the Cosmos one a little while ago. I love it. I still love their formula, but I do really love this compact packaging. So I hope they do more in this realm, but I highly recommend this one. Of course, the price point is also better on these smaller palettes, which is great. It's an added benefit. All right, next up we have Tres Luce Beauty. I hope I'm saying that correctly, Tres Luce. And this is the I Am Alma palette. This is the color story is perfect. Like, if I were to put together a mini palette, I think I would have one tweak, and it would be to add like a champagne kind of a shimmer shade in here instead of this icy white, because I don't use an icy white that often. It's a great inner corner shade, but not like something I put all over my lid all the time. So if this was a champagne-y or almost like pinky, like rose gold shade, this palette would be absolutely perfect for me. I love how you get 3 mattes, 3 shimmers, and these mattes are super pigmented. Really great formula. This is the first item I've tried from Tres Luce Beauty, and I'm really impressed. The shimmers are gorgeous. They pack a nice punch. They're super glittery. The turquoise is gorgeous. The green is gorgeous. I mean, and this one right here kind of reminds me of like the Fenty How Many Carats Diamond Bomb. It's that like no base, just glitter kind of a shade, and I love it. And paired with any of these mattes can really just bump up a look. I love glitter, you know that if you've watched any other videos on my channel. This formula really impressed me, and it's actually like in the drugstore side of Ulta and was very reasonably priced. I believe I got this in a set for like $12.50, and it came with lashes. So price point is on point, literally. And I definitely am curious about the other products from Tres Luce because of this. So highly recommend this. Cute packaging. Very small, compact, 6 shades. I think you get a lot of versatility with these 6 shades as well. So yeah, I really, really recommend. I'm going to be trying more from this brand, definitely. Okay, now we're getting to the drugstore, like true drugstore. That is Colourpop and LA Girl. And the price points kind of vary with both of these brands depending on what you get, but they're both very affordable. So I'm going to start with Colourpop, and this formula right here, this like clear packaging quad eyeshadow formula is super consistent and beautiful. I will say I have a lot of palettes from Colourpop, and they do have kind of a hit or a miss formula, but the ones in this clear packaging, these quads, are stunning. The formula for the shimmers is beautiful, just packs a punch. There is some fallout, so be careful, but make sure you either use a wet brush or you do your eye makeup first, or you just be prepared and powder the under eyes so that you can wipe it away. But there is fallout with these shades, but honestly, it's worth it. So I have the Never Tore Us Apart because obviously I'm a Taurus and I needed it. But I'm also obsessed with the green gold situations, as you can tell by my love for the Natasha Denona gold palette or mini gold palette. I need the big one, but this is like the mini version, which I love. You get your like gold options and you get your green options, and you can kind of amp up the green, or you can amp up the neutral, or you can mix them together. I love that you get a light shimmer, a medium shimmer, and then a light to medium matte and a darker matte. I think that's like a perfect formula for a quad, honestly, because you can get so much versatility out of it. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about this, but beautiful formula, super cute packaging. I will say these are very fragile, especially the shimmers, so just be careful. That's the one thing about taking them in your makeup bag that I will recommend, is like make sure that they're padded and or in a safe place in your makeup bag, and that they're not going to be thrown around a lot, because these shimmers, some of them I have had to repress. So I also have Sorbet, and that's more of your like pinky mauve quad. Again, really great options. The light shimmer, the medium shimmer, the lighter matte, deeper matte. They all kind of have that kind of formula to them, but I love that. This one is Cream Soda. This is my most used one of these quads, and I take it with me almost everywhere just because it's so easy to use and make a look, and I can also deepen it up if I need to. And I can either go lighter with the shimmer or I can go more pinky, and both look just beautiful. So, I love it. This one for deeper skin tones, I can imagine, is so beautiful. On me, it's a little bit deep and I don't reach for it a ton. I use it to deepen up other looks. I'm just not like a deep eyeshadow, like a dark eyeshadow look on me is not my normal go-to, but for the days that it is, it's still really beautiful. The formula is beautiful. It's the same formula as all of these, just a little bit darker than my normal go-to, but great for a smoky eye or great for like a companion palette to this one to deepen it up. Stunning. And on a deeper skin tone, this one would work beautifully. This is Sparkler. Highly recommend these quads from Colourpop, but as you can see, there's a mess already because I opened it up. This shade broke and I had to repress it. So apologies for the mess, but be careful with these eyeshadows. They're beautiful, but a mess sometimes if they break. The last brand I wanted to tell you about is LA Girl, and I have the 9-pan and I have the 4-pan ones. I wanted to show both, even though this one is technically more of a mini palette. I will say I think the formulas are different in both of these, so I did want to talk about that. This is the newer one. These are the Foreplay eyeshadow palettes from LA Girl, and I will say these, like the shade choices are perfect for these palettes. My problem is definitely not the shade choices. This one is in Seduce, and this is the more neutral one. I have the greenish gold one as well. I will say the shimmers are a little dry in here, and that makes me very sad because LA Girl, for me, I love the shimmers. Like the shimmer shades are the standout. The mattes are really good too, but the shimmer shades are what I was so impressed by, and this one I was hoping would have the same formula, and it does not. It still works, and it is still sparkly, but I need a base. I need like an eyeshadow primer or a liquid eyeshadow down first and then to put these on, because it's such a dry formula. It does not hold up on its own. It needs that added layer, which is fine. It's an affordable eyeshadow and you can definitely make it work and it still looks beautiful. And it's one of the cheaper ones that I've talked about today. So it's kind of a trade-off. If you want the most affordability and that's your goal, that this one does give you a beautiful result for the price. I just will say that I would recommend either wetting your brush before applying this or having an eyeshadow base on underneath, and you definitely can make it work. But the shades are gorgeous. I just wish that this had the same formula as these. I did just take a phone call, so bear with me. I don't really know where I left off, but I will say this is a great affordable option for the price. Little bit of a drier formula. The mattes are good. Maybe not as good as this one, but still pretty good. But this is what I would recommend. This is the Keep It Playful eye palette from LA Girl. This is the first eyeshadow palette I had from LA Girl, and this is what really led me into trying more from the brand. These two shades in particular are the stars of the show. This one right here especially is very similar to like high-end eyeshadow palettes. It just, the sparkle, the kind of shiftiness of it, like it has so much dimension to it. It has so much glitter, but not in a fallout kind of way. It has a little tiny bit of fine fallout, but nothing any different than like Natasha Denona or Pat McGrath. Very similar to the bigger brands. This is so good. And especially for the price tag. I don't know how much this palette retails for currently, but I love how compact it is. I love that it's 9 shades. It's a lot of variety in here. You do get 5 shimmers and 4 mattes, and they range from really light to really deep. It's just a perfectly set up palette. This is the more pinky toned. They have a neutral one that leans more cool and a neutral one that leans more warm. I want all of them. They're just so good. I want to see if the other ones are as good as this one. But this shade in particular is the star. And this one also is a close second. It's kind of a duochrome-ish. It's like a pink to blue. It's a very similar shade to the Mini Retro by Natasha Denona. There's a shade in it that looks just like this. So similar. And in a very affordable palette. The mattes are more similar to like Anastasia mattes in that they're powdery. I do obviously like that formula, so the mattes are really good and the shimmers are really good. These two shimmers are a little bit harder pressed, but they still work. It just takes a little bit more to get them out, to get them to do what you want. This one and this one are definitely the stars, and they don't have that problem. And of course, for this price point, like I'm a little more lenient on all of the shades kind of not being as consistent. I know that this is a different formula than these, so that could be why. But overall, such a beautiful, gorgeous palette. Perfect for pretty much anyone. They have a bunch of different versions of this palette. Go check them out. They're at Ulta. I believe they're at Target as well. But yeah, this is perfect, compact, and as for drugstore packaging, this is so sturdy. I've never had a problem with a shade popping out, breaking, anything like that. It is solid. Like, oh, I love it. And this one is cheaper packaging. Like, you can feel that it's lighter. It's not as, like, stable as this one. This one has a magnetic closure. I mean, I would think this is more high-end than it is. It's crazy. This is just such a good palette. So definitely go check it out if you're interested in LA Girl and their price point. That's all of the small to mini palettes that I would recommend you go buy if you are in the market for a small mini palette. There is something for everybody. And if you want to see the large palettes that I recommend, definitely let me know in the comments. I can definitely do that for y'all. If you want me to do a video focusing on specifically drugstore or specifically higher end, definitely let me know. Also, eyeshadow is one of my favorite things to talk about. I love eyeshadow. I love playing with different formulas from different brands. It's just something, it's the one thing that in my makeup routine that really changes a lot from day to day, just based on my mood and what I'm feeling. And that's why I have so many palettes. But yeah, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this style of video, definitely let me know and I'll make some more of this kind of content for y'all. But yeah, I hope you're having an amazing day or night wherever you are, and I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.